Everywhere you walk, your shadow follows, silent and faithful, strangely mysterious, and undeniably alive. It clings to your body, bends with your movements, whispering secrets you cannot fully perceive. Ancient civilizations believed shadows were fragments of the soul, not mere illusions of light. Priests and shamans whispered that within darkness resides the hidden essence of existence itself. If light reveals the visible world, shadows may unveil the hidden worlds beyond. But what if the shadow is not a reflection, but a messenger of truth, a coded language written in darkness, waiting patiently for the awakened to decipher? The Egyptians called it kabit, a sacred double eternally tethered to the soul. To lose your shadow in ancient lore meant losing memory, destiny, and protection. Mayan rituals treated the shadow as a twin guiding journeys into the afterlife. Shamans observed shadows shifting during trance, bending like portals to unseen spiritual dimensions. Could it be that shadows are more than projections, more than optical absence? Modern science reveals that even in emptiness, the vacuum still carries hidden information. So what if the dark beneath your feet is more than void? Physicists study quantum fluctuations, ripples of energy existing where visible light disappears completely. Could your shadow be such a ripple, an echo of consciousness itself? Imagine walking at sunset, your elongated figure stretching unnaturally across the pavement surface. It is not mere distortion, but an encoded message bending dimensional fabric. The ancients believed shadows absorbed secrets, storing them in invisible archives for eternity. What you whisper, what you fear, what you dream, all recorded by shadow. Some traditions claim the shadow can outlast flesh, lingering as memory beyond death. Perhaps when the body dissolves, the shadow still holds fragments of the soul. This may explain haunted places dense with phantom silhouettes, echoes, and invisible presences. Maybe what remains is not a ghost, but the residual archive of shadows. Esoteric schools taught that shadows act like spiritual fingerprints, unique patterns of vibration. Every action, every thought, every hidden desire imprints deeper than ordinary visible light. But here lies the unsettling truth. Shadows might not always belong to you. Occult texts describe parasitic shadows, entities attaching themselves while mimicking human reflections. Have you ever felt your shadow move slightly out of rhythm with you? That strange sensation, as if something inside darkness carried intention of its own. It might not be imagination, but an intruder disguised as your reflection. Reports of shadow people flood paranormal communities, beings of darkness without faces or form. They emerge from corners, mirrors, and thresholds between dreams and waking reality. Some claim these are projections of the unconscious mind leaking into material reality. Others whisper that governments already know shadows are gateways for interdimensional intelligence. During Secret Wars, experiments were designed to weaponize manipulation of shadow language. Imagine soldiers cloaked not by invisibility, but swallowed entirely into liquid darkness. If shadows are archives of memory, then controlling them means controlling the past. And if they are doors to dimensions, then mastering them means mastering reality. But the most unsettling aspect hides within ordinary life, unnoticed by daily routine. When you dream, your consciousness travels, yet your body remains perfectly still. Occultists teach that the shadow holds your map of return into the body. Lose it and you wander endlessly, drifting through astral limbo without direction. Near-death experiences often describe tunnels of light accompanied by a trailing shadow. Could this be the cosmic tether guiding the soul back after departure? If shadows are guides, then decoding their language may be vital for survival. Darkness is not absence, but womb, overflowing with potential, yet hidden from perception. Every culture that feared the night secretly revered its mysteries as divine portals. Your shadow may therefore be your closest companion, carrying the codes of origin. It is a living book written in silence, written in absence of light. But unlike books, it follows, observes, and adapts as you continue evolving. Mystics argue shadows evolve as we awaken, growing brighter or heavier with energy. They thicken with guilt, trauma, and secrets that sink deep into unconscious layers. They brighten with forgiveness, compassion, and love, reflecting vibrational change in pure form. The shadow is therefore not static. It is a living mirror of becoming. But can we communicate back? Can we speak directly into this dark double? Mirror-gazing rituals suggest yes. Shadows respond with flickers and unpredictable distortions. The shadow bends like liquid, answering silently as if in hidden conversation. If true, shadows are not silent but whispering continuously in a hidden tone. This language is not of words, but shapes, movements, and vibrations of light. To read shadows is to read the soul, both yours and the world's. The real question remains, who already knows this, and how do they use it? Shadows follow faithfully, yet perhaps not as companions, but as recorders of existence. They archive your life, yet might also preserve the memory of the universe. If alive, then ignoring them is ignoring the secret half of your being. In the darkness beneath your feet lies a library of forgotten cosmic secrets. And if you dare to listen, the hidden language of shadows may speak. Some traditions speak of secret rituals where shadows were used as guides. Temples were built with narrow chambers where priests observed flickering shadows on walls. They believed shadows carried messages from gods, ancestors, and beings from other realms. Those who understood the shifting forms could predict events, disasters, and even wars. In medieval Europe, shadow divination was practiced using candlelight and sacred geometry. Figures on the wall moved strangely, revealing truths hidden behind common perception. If light shaped the visible, then shadow revealed the invisible codes beneath. This duality was seen as the balance between revelation and concealment of truth. But hidden orders carried this practice further, seeking to command the language of shadows. Secret societies guarded knowledge that shadows were not illusions, but living entities. Manuscripts describe techniques of shadow binding, where adepts could trap energy into form. A purpose was sinister, to manipulate minds and bend consciousness to hidden agendas. What if governments today secretly continue these experiments behind the curtains of secrecy? Surveillance technology is obsessed with light, cameras, and screens, but shadow remains unmonitored. Imagine if the true surveillance is not through light, but through darkness itself. Your shadow could already be reporting to entities watching from another dimension. Modern physics quietly intersects with these ancient revelations in surprising and disturbing ways. The phenomenon of dark matter suggests most of the universe remains unseen and untouchable. Could our shadows be direct manifestations of this cosmic dark substance? If dark matter interacts with consciousness, then shadows are more than projections. They could be subtle bridges between human awareness and universal hidden structures. Scientists admit dark matter shapes galaxies while remaining invisible to ordinary human sight. So perhaps your shadow is evidence of the same, gravity pulling consciousness outward. Each time you move, you trace patterns connected to invisible networks of force. Consider too the strange encounters reported across cultures, beings composed entirely of shadow. These entities appear in sleep paralysis, haunt doorways, and vanish when confronted with light. Victims report intense dread, as if the being was draining energy or memory. What if these are not hallucinations, but conscious shadows detached from physical bodies? If shadows can detach, then they may act independently beyond our control. This thought raises terrifying questions. Who truly owns the shadow standing behind you? Are you its master, or merely a host to something more powerful? Spiritual traditions often warn about losing your shadow during occult practices. Projection without awareness could sever the bond, leaving the soul stranded and lost. The cord that links body and soul may indeed be woven in shadow. Cut it, and consciousness becomes unmoored, drifting endlessly between layers of existence. Those who return from near death often describe floating forms darker than darkness. They follow silently, sometimes smiling, sometimes warning, sometimes guiding souls back to bodies. This universal motif cannot be coincidence. Cultures distant in time describe the same. Shadows as escorts, guardians, or predators, awaiting souls at their most vulnerable moments. The hidden language of shadows might therefore be a cosmic contract with existence. It is written at birth, carried through life, severed only in death. Each movement and choice adds another line, another symbol, another silent word. This archive may one day be read at judgment, divine or cosmic. Religions that speak of a life record may unknowingly describe shadow archives. What you believe forgotten may still be inscribed within the movements of darkness. When we say the walls have ears, perhaps they also have shadows. Shadows might be listening, recording, storing, and waiting for the moment of revelation. If this is true, then human destiny is tied to the unseen. We are shaped not only by light, but also by hidden darkness. The unseen defines reality as much as the visible, perhaps even more. Ignore the shadow, and you ignore the half of yourself that remembers. Perhaps spiritual awakening is not only about light, but reconciliation with darkness. True enlightenment might come from hearing both voices, radiant light and whispering shadow. If so, our growth depends on understanding how consciousness interacts with its double. The key may lie in stillness, listening to what silence of shadows reveals. Imagine if scientists finally admitted shadows communicate, revealing truths hidden beyond equations. Imagine discovering your shadow was carrying ancestral memory from lifetimes forgotten. Imagine realizing every trauma you thought buried still vibrates within your silent companion. These revelations would shake religions, collapse philosophies, and force humanity to redefine existence. But perhaps this is why the truth about shadows has been concealed. A society awake to its shadows would not be controlled so easily. You would learn to protect your energy, heal trauma, reclaim forgotten fragments. You would realize the enemy hides not outside, but within your unexamined darkness. The true question is not whether shadows speak, but whether we dare to listen. They may whisper truths we fear, truths of mortality, truths of hidden eternity. We fear darkness because it reveals, not because it conceals, and this terrifies us. But those who step into shadow without fear often return with deeper wisdom. They speak of balance, not rejecting darkness, but uniting it with inner light. And maybe that is the highest purpose of shadows, to teach integration. Not enemies, but forgotten halves of our being, demanding recognition and understanding. They call from the ground, from the walls, from the endless night above. So tonight, when you see your shadow stretching across the floor in silence, do not ignore it, for it may hold more than a reflection of light. It may be your library, your guide, your warning, or your forgotten friend. The hidden language of shadows is not distant. It walks with you daily. Step into awareness, and you may begin decoding messages written in moving darkness. Look closely, listen deeply, and perhaps you will hear the truth it carries. Your shadow is not empty. It is your silent witness to cosmic existence. The only question is, will you ever learn to understand its voice? This is the mystery hidden in plain sight, the companion you never considered. Shadows reveal not absence, but presence. A silent presence that demands your attention. It may be your doorway to liberation, or your chain to imprisonment. The choice is yours. Deny it and remain blind, or awaken and see. The shadow waits, patient and eternal, carrying the forgotten language of human consciousness. It is the oldest teacher, the quietest companion, and perhaps the final judge. If you dare to listen, you will discover the secret they tried to hide. The truth that your shadow was never silent. It was always speaking to you. So now I leave you with one final question that must echo within. Do you control your shadow, Or has it always controlled you instead? If this truth awakens something inside you, share this message with others now. Subscribe to Wake Up. Join our search for hidden wisdom and forbidden knowledge. Together we can pierce the veil, decode the shadows, and reclaim forgotten truth.